Hello, Brubs. We're back with A Dream of Dracula in Search of the Living Dead by Leonard Wolf, a 1972 book. And we're on Chapter 9 The Vampire in My Living Room. Come on, bastard. Don't fail me. Alright, now focus. Struggle. In genuine possession, the action of the demon doubtless dominates the body, seizes on its organs and uses them as if they were his own, actuates the nervous system and produces movements and gesticulations in the limbs, speaking, for example, through the patient's mouth. F.X. McQuart in Satan. Finding a vampire to talk with has not been easy. This book does not want to cooperate. Finding a vampire to talk with has not been easy. The two young men, whom I described in the prologue of this book as spoiling my midnight rest, hardly count, as will soon be clear. To begin my search, I took an ad in the San Francisco Chronicle. Are you a vampire? My little box under public notices said, Replies confidential. Write the paper, ad number 71775. One would have thought it was a discreet enough announcement, but the Chronicle's advertising management went to some trouble to check my bona fides before they would print it. If I expected a rush of bat wings and fangs in the mail, I was disappointed, but there was plenty of strange behavior to think about. Dear Sir, I am replying to your notice in the paper. I have a craving for blood. I'm a nurse. I was taking a blood test when I suddenly wanted to drink the syringe of blood and to attack the patient. I rushed from the room to get control of myself. I am hoping this ad is no hoax. I am desperate. S. Then, dear sir, I am a vampire. What can I do for you? Sincerely, M. Or, dear sir, before I do indeed admit to being a vampiress, would you be so kind as to answer some questions? Why are you inquiring about vampires in the San Francisco Chronicle? 2. If a vampire should write to you and tell you about himself, what would your actions be regarding him? As soon as I receive the answers to the above questions, I will contact you again. I am quite interested. Sincerely, Q. And, dear sir, yes, I am a vampire. I have been for 2 years. Thank you, Z. P.S. Answer me. There were a score of replies, very few of which gave me such assurance that my correspondents were in any way serious. The saddest and unquestionably the most authentic one read, Dear Sir, why do you ask? I am presently in prison, so please bear sick that in mind and word your reply with the utmost sick admonition to my situation. All mail is censored, both incoming and outgoing. Any communication will, of course, be determined by your vigilance in regards to my circumstances and your motives for requesting information about what might prove to be both very personal and possibly hazardous. Perhaps correspondence on a third person level would be sufficient. Please reply only by mail. Sincerely, R. And I'm not going to read the rest of the letters. The briefest and funniest reply was this one regarding ad number 71775. Dear sir, no. Sincerely, S. Hello, bros. To every letter, no matter how lugubrious the practical joke it seemed to be making, I sent a reply describing my work and offered to meet the vampire at his convenience. To date, not one of my letters has unearthed a blood drinker I could see and hear. My guess is that most of those who answered the ad are homegrown wits who found in it an invitation to their special talents. The 2 or 3 exceptions were finally afraid to come forward, and I was left with a file of faintly amusing letters. I tried again, this time with Kraft Ebing in mind. It occurred to me that the medical profession, to whom very little that is strange in human behavior is hidden, might help me. My ad in the Journal of the American Medical Association asked doctors to send me vampire information for research project. Please send a summary of any patient believing himself to be a vampire to Professor Leonard Wolf, and so on. This ad had unexpected results, though once again I failed to find a vampire or even a doctor who would admit to having treated the sort of patient I was looking for. Instead, the ad was picked up as a funny by newspaper and magazine columnists around the world. From San Rafael, Los Angeles, New York City, Oakland, and London, the queries came. Dr. Hippocrates, NBC and CBS television, Dr. Joyce Brothers, the Saturday Review, and Playboy, among others, found my ad interesting enough for comment or to call me. When I asked one breathless newsman why, he replied, "It's an upbeat item, an optimistic bit of news to read over one's morning coffee." Optimistic. The replies that AMA readers were a bit more literate on the whole than those I had from Chronicle readers, but beyond that, they were not 1 degree wittier. The MD I was to learn is not immune from the virus of the practical joke. Of the many letters I got, only two were serious. One was from a pediatrician calling my attention to the early biting behavior of children. Another suggested some blood related reading I might do. But the most unusual letter was like this one. Dear Professor, I am a technologist in a hospital and have noticed that I have this frightening desire to be around dead bodies. I find myself volunteering to assist at autopsies. After they are over, I find myself staying for hours staring at the body. I especially enjoy drawing blood from patients and purposely try to spill it all over my hands. This excites me. Do you think I could be a vampire? Please write and give me some help and advice because I feel that I am becoming dangerous. I wrote only to learn that the letter writer, as a prank, had used the innocent technologist's letterhead and signed his name. To such letters I contrived a general reply on this model. Dear blank, by all means tell me anything you truthfully can about your roommate and his proclivities. A kindly suggestion. I get many prank letters. I have an uneasy feeling yours is one of them. If I am mistaken, I beg your pardon. To put it most directly, if you've got a real vampire on your hands, have him get in touch with me at once. If your letter is a gag, bug off. Sincerely. Advertising then turned out not to be the way to find the vampire I was looking for. Unable to think of other means, I gave up on the project and returned to the safer confines of the library, my office, and my study. 3 nights ago, an old and trusted friend, whom I will here call Jay, telephoned me at my home. He said, "Leonard, do you still want to talk with a vampire?" They came at 9 o'clock, Jay and his young friend Alex. My 11-year-old son and my 9-year-old daughter, who knew very well why the tape recorder, the cognac, and the tray of cookies were on the coffee table, came out to catch their glimpse of Alex, the vampire, and to get a good night cookie. They looked him over gravely. They would have wished to stay, but left without quarreling when I made bedtime commands. Hello, Bobs. Jay is a brilliant San Francisco poet in his middle 30s, whose work and character I have long admired. In another context, his own life as a poet and a prisoner would make significant reading. Here it is, Alex, I must focus on. What do you got, bruv? Alex, soft, a little overfed, sensuous, petulant, dark-haired, and good-looking. He says he is 22 years old, but it is a young 22, as if youth were his attribute rather than his time of life. I sit facing him so I can watch both the control panel of the tape recorder and his face. His abnormally luminous dark eyes and the boneless ease with which he sits back on my couch are strong signals to me that he is a drug user. However, that may be, for the moment he is unreserved and friendly and begins our conversation with concern for my work. Look, I don't know if I'm going to measure up to your idea of a vampire. I don't know what to expect. It's all right, I say. Whatever you tell me will be fine. He likes my living room, the books, the Persian samovar beside the collection of sea-worn glass in a bowl over the fireplace, and the driftwood fire. Despite the warm amenities, I feel myself edgy about the aura of drugs I have sensed around him. Jay, as if he picked up my thoughts, tells me that Alex is clean. He has, as a matter of fact, only recently kicked the heroin habit. There you go. Like a generous friend, Jay says nothing of other drugs, and I am only half reassured. Alex says it's something I learned from Jay. People don't really like me when I'm fixing drugs, so I'm staying away. He talks freely about that decision, then abruptly, let me tell you about this vampire trip. Blood really turns me on. He is too quick for me. I want to know other things first, like where he comes from, what his childhood was like. Oh, well, my parents, they work, they have a house in S, a beautiful place. They have two beautiful children, me and my older sister. My father worked all his life in the post office. My mother, housewife, running bridge clubs, giving bridge lessons. Mostly she sits around with a lot of other people at square tables. I can't see any stimulation in it. It's a familiar litany, dull plastic parents who, in the new American mythology, are responsible for the fragility of their children's psyches. Alex claims he was miscast in that respectable life and was kicked out of the seaside town in which he lived till he was 16 because he was selling grass and speed. By then, he was already turned on to blood. That started when I was 13. It had to do with drugs, yes, but it was really the needles that did it. I was already turned on to some wild trips, mixing up coffee, alcohol, anything I could lay my hands on. Then I got turned on to belladonna, speed, heroin. I always dug needles, the needle by itself, but preferably a needle and something behind it. How does a 13-year-old get heroin? I ask. Easily. My sister was going out with a guy who was strung out on the stuff. One night he was really high and I was drinking cherry brandy under his bed when he sort of rolled over and asked me if I wanted to go out on the rooftop with him. As it turned out, he had a needle. He asked me if I wanted the stuff, and I did. It was soon after that the whole blood ritual began. There was this guy, it was certainly kind of spooky. This guy, he cut a pentagram in his hand with a razor blade. Then he cut me across the chest and he massaged me with his blood. His blood, my blood. My chest was covered with blood. Then he moved away, didn't say a thing, but just went in the other room. That really turned me on. It flattered me. It turned me on that he couldn't be with it. Like the whole thing was a tease. The blood was a tease meant for me. It was a ceremony, and the ceremony turned me on. It was a big energy trip. It excited me that he would care enough about me to cut himself up. But I say, he cut you up too. How does that show he cared? It depends on what you're looking for. Somehow, I like it when someone has enough to spare a little blood, or that's it. It's an energy exchange. The energy of blood is particularly strong because it usually involves some kind of pain. When you're with someone who's at the other end of the razor blade, or whatever, it's a transaction. Whether it's in the neck, whether it's in the veins, it's energy you're going to be able to use. Beautiful. If somebody cares enough for you to suck your blood, I can't think of much more to ask. That's a strange form of caring, I say. Can you tell me how you arrived at it? When did your blood sucking begin? He takes an appreciative sip of cognac and reminisces. It happened by accident. You know how the high school trip is to leave marks. Everybody wants to leave marks, love marks, hickeys, for status. Well, I was only 16, but I was on my honeymoon. I had taken this girl down to Tijuana, and I married her. Yeah, I married her. We went to San Diego and got a hotel room. Then we got a bottle of sherry and some other kind of wine and went back to the hotel where we started drinking. We made it about halfway through the bottle of sherry and we started the ball, which we had done before. That was nothing unusual. Then, when she was starting to bite me, I thought, why not bite her? She might really appreciate it. She didn't. I drew blood. I didn't know what I was doing, but I drew a lot of blood and she came up saying, man, that really hurt. Cut it out. I looked down and there was blood all over her chest. At first, it didn't occur to me it could be her blood. I thought it must be mine, but it was hers. She caught on she was bleeding before I did, and she screamed. Did she think there was something wrong with you? Man, did she. She thought there was something wrong with me for sure. I am relieved to hear that the girl left him the very next morning. He hasn't seen her since. Your bride, I say, was upset about your blood taking. With whom else have you done it? Lately, he laughs. I've been finding people all over the place. It's just been amazing. More and more people are beginning to do it. They come around a lot. As he puts it, San Francisco is on a blood trip. It's very strange. In the last couple of years, there's been a very heavy thing going on for being receptive vampires. People really want to get their blood sucked. What kinds of people? Anybody. Mainly gay cats, but chicks too. They come out of curiosity and because they know that with me they won't be hurt. Why not, I wonder? You might find yourself really hurting them. But he dismisses the idea. In a little while I was to see why. When I ask him, how does the question of blood drinking come up between you and your lovers? His quick answer is, it's not a question. What is it? Passion, he replies. Feeling like a rube in Babylon, I ask, you suck at their throats? Yes. Has anybody ever sucked yours? He laughs good humoredly. Yep, doesn't work. How come? I don't know. I don't know. I find it so easy. I don't see why other people can't make it work. If I am to be a rube, I might as well ask all the questions. What do you do to make it work? He answers with considerable pride. It depends on how you suck. I suck around the veins, the throat, the arm, the groin, especially the groin. Now, this is conjecture. It must have something to do with the number of capillaries that lie close to the skin. If I press my eye teeth against the skin and suck in a particular way, using only the upper part of my mouth, leaving the bottom part totally limp, I draw blood. I draw quite a bit of blood, and I can usually draw for a number of minutes. I am an interviewer. My tape recorder is allowed to escape this interview without comment. It hums indifferently, whatever the words it catches on the tape, but Alex is drinking my cognac. My children sleep in the next room. I am a host, a curious person. I am required to say something. I ask, how much blood do you get? That's an interesting question. He thinks a while. I don't measure it, you know. When you ask about measurement, the best I can do would be to talk of time. I would say I take at the most 10 minutes worth of blood. I don't know how much comes out. What effect does drinking the blood have on you? I get a charge out of it. An erection, man. Man, you know, it feels good. Something is being consummated. It's consummated by a blood ritual. That's heavy. That's something that can make people very, very tight, close together. They've shared blood, but that isn't sharing, I cry. That's ingestion. He is gentle with me. No, it doesn't always appear to me. No, it doesn't appear that way to me at all. He is gentle with me the way I am sure he was with all those people playing bridge around square tables in S. But I am Jay's friend, so he is forgiving as well as patient. I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to give you a sense of how we feel, my lovers and me. For me, it's groovy. For them, it's fun. They don't feel left out. It's an accomplice entry into the other self. An accomplice entry, I don't know what that means, though it sounds distantly poetic. As if he were explaining the phrase, he goes on, for sure, it goes along really well when you're fucking. Just marvelous. You might call it bloodlust, I don't know. All I know is that it goes particularly well with sodomy. An accomplice entry, because you know the blood sucking is forbidden and it's in front, at the throat. The sodomy is at the back and it's forbidden. It takes a contortionist to do them both at the same time, but it works out nicely. It's a real high. The blood and the bawling, it works out well. With all that twisting, I say, how can you manage the selflessness that passion requires? Selflessness? When I'm turned on, I'm selfless. Here, let me show you, Jay. Jay, as a gift to his friend who some while ago I became aware was also his lover, comes to sit beside him and offers him his arm. See, Alex says, I'll show you. It is meant to be a cool demonstration, so cool that I get up to get a look from a better vantage point at what Alex will do. It is, as he says, his mouth forms a seal over the vein in Jay's inner left arm near the elbow. I can see the convulsive sucking motion made by Alex's lips, tongue, and throat, but more than that, I see the growing suffusion of Alex's whole body. He is right. There is a selflessness, if by that word one can include a trance. Alex is gone. To use his word, he is leeched on, his eyes closed, his face flushed. He is a rigid arc over Jay's white arm. He is a silent, indrawing, absorbing creature, intent, no longer here in my living room. He is gone, elsewhere, sucking. Jay, the older lover who has endured years of prison ferocity without losing his gentleness, endures this too, for the sake of his friend. When I make a jarring sound, Alex comes to and slowly detaches himself, leaving a bright red mark the size of an old-fashioned silver dollar on Jay's white, unbroken skin. The whole scene has lasted less than half a minute. Jay looks patient, Alex unsettled, breathless. I am in a dither between my respectable sensations of horror and other feelings too dubious to confront. I have been inside a mystery. In a way, I have been privileged, but it was awful. Now I know that Alex means every word he says. Blood is his trip. What he does not know is just how dangerous his ecstasy may be. I hope that Jay at least will remember. No, you shut up, bastard. Don't ever tell a champ to shut up. Jay, who has treated the scene more lightly than either Alex or I, rolls his sleeve down and buttons it, saying, if anyone else were to put that trip on me, I'd knock his teeth out. I try to resume the mantle of the investigator, but Alex no longer has the easy mood he came with. When he drinks the cognac, he coughs harshly. Recovered from the coughing fit, he looks dizzy and vague. Hoping to make him focus, I ask, from how many people have you taken blood? Alex hears me and considers the question with the fuzzy stolidity of a man doing his best to think. Interesting, really interesting. I would guess the number whose blood I've sucked has to be over 50. Then he gropes his way through to a distinction. But the number I have bawled and sucked their blood, guys and chicks, has to be 30 or 40. He shakes his head. Man, I'm running out of answers. Like I told you, this blood trip gets me high. Really high. I'm all wound up. Still, I have final questions. Have you ever thought that this pleasure in blood might be related to a fear of impotence? Have you talked to a therapist about it? Sure, I've talked to therapists about drugs, but not about blood. I'm not hung up on impotence. I don't need any help that way. His irritation is growing. Look, I'm not on any Dracula kick. The whole undead thing, I'm not interested in death or immortality. I'm just very hot on the idea of sucking blood. I do it with chicks. I do it with my old lady. I do it with guys. I'm not hung up on impotence, though. He adds, for some guys, the blood drinking might be a demonstration of courage. I play a very weak card saying, well, if it has to be a demonstration, mightn't that be a sign of anxiety? The three of us are very tired. None of us is amused or curious or courageous or remarkable anymore. The fire in the fireplace is dying. The Persian rug has cookie crumbs on it. Before he answers, Alex has another fit of coughing, then says, yeah, that could be true. That could be, but it's not my thing. There is a long, harsh pause, after which Alex says, look, a lot of guys are on a heavy M masochist trip. They have to split it up in some dark corner, and the darkest corner they can find is me. That's deep, buddy. All right, that's going to be it for chapter 9. And we're approaching the end of the book, 26 or 30 pages left. So, when's the next chapter? 10. Is that really that long? That sucks. It's going to be a long one. I think. 10 and then prologue. Is that how it goes? We'll see. Yep. So 24 pages. What is this bullshit? I can't translate that bullshit if you're going to talk. I can't read that. That's some butter churning bullshit right there. All right. That's all.